Okay, good evening, everyone. I thought Greg did a great job. I'll hopefully be able to reinforce a lot of the points that he made. Basically, I thought I'd try to be helpful to provide my perspective on the keys to life science, successful life science company. And I have worked for the greenhouse for 6 years, and believe it's provided me with some insight that may be helpful to you. I hope you recognize this is a short presentation. I am just scratching the surface of the subject. So the topics I'll cover here today is basically an introduction to our organization, and then I'll also talk about what we consider to be the 4 key areas of a company. Basically, the technology, as Greg had indicated, is a critical starting place, the market where it's going to be sold, how the company is going to be financed, and the management team. And also, I'd like to cover some lessons learned after our years involved in this process, and then also provide my perspective on what to expect if you're thinking of venturing into this world of startups. So Life Sciences Greenhouse, this is our website here. It's one of 3 greenhouses in Pennsylvania. The other 2 are located in Philadelphia and the Pittsburgh areas. Each greenhouse was funded in 2002 with approximately $33 million to invest and support life sciences businesses in Pennsylvania, with the long-term goal of helping to grow life sciences industry in the state. We've seen hundreds of companies approach us, and typically we invest in 1 out of 10 that are interested in funding. So it's a significant threshold to cross to obtain funding. If, for comparison purposes, venture capital typically invests in 1 out of 100. Once we invest in a company, we typically will monitor the company's performance either as a director of the company or as a board observer, depending on the circumstances. And besides the Peliotis Vision located in Hershey, we've also recently invested in 2 companies just recently located in the Lancaster area, Immunomic Therapeutics, which has the lab set up at F&M, and they also have an office across the way at, I believe it's Liberty Place, right? Thank you. And then, in addition, there's Benton Bioservices, which is essentially establishing a CRO business in the area, which we're excited to see come as well. Okay, from our perspective, these are really what we consider to be the keys to a successful life sciences company. You can see it's technology, market, finance, and management, and hopefully the graphic gives you a clue as what we consider to be the most important element. I'll start with technology because it's, again, a cornerstone of most life sciences businesses. For a successful company, technology needs to have these attributes. It has to be truly novel. It has to essentially solve an unmet need that provides a compelling reason for people to adopt it. Adoption is such a critical part of a successful company and a big threshold to cross. The technology needs to be well protected. Ideally, it has a strong patent portfolio, and where appropriate, foreign filing is maybe the right thing to do. It really depends on what the market opportunities are in those other countries, but there's a significant cost associated with that needs to be considered. In addition to patents, it's really good for companies to include trade secret protection. Oftentimes, if there's an internal process, controlling the trade secret and the operation internally is vital to maintain the value. And finally, copywriting is also an appropriate activity of certain areas such as software. And finally, I think when investors look at is what's the future development of the company? Is this really just a single activity, or is the technology have something that can be further developed, let's say a second generation product, or is it technology something that could be adaptable to other applications to really increase future value? From a marketing perspective, which is really the second element I'd like to review, basically, to be successful, a life sciences company needs to have a deep understanding of the prospective customers' needs and really understand how they currently spend money in the area where you're interested in targeting. You need to really have a competitive situation where there's direct and indirect competitors, but they're clearly inferior to what you're planning to offer. And really, if the market opportunity is not large enough, the effort, isn't worthwhile to investors. So you want to make sure you have a large and growing market opportunity. Ideally, we look for something around $500 million of annual sales potential, and also a growing market opportunity of, say, 10% or more. Usually ends up being an opportunity where there's a lot of new applications and new customers that are willing to pursue it. In addition, really look for people that can develop strong relationships with early adopters. It's really critical to get those initial sales and finding the people that are willing to put up with some of the issues that come up with initial products and are willing to work with the company can be a huge benefit. So, and really the last point is being able to have formidable barriers to entry. You want to make sure that all the time and money that you as a company put into it, along with your investors, that the barriers really provide an opportunity for the company to make a significant amount of money before competitors can effectively enter it. The third element I'd like to cover is finance. Fundamental objective of a startup company is pretty simple: never run out of cash. Unfortunately, it's a common occurrence, especially in the last 15 to 18 months of the financial world. But it's really important to startup companies look for, understand what their cash burn rate is, and really clearly address it quickly if they feel like they're going to be in trouble in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months. That you really want to make sure you've addressed things well ahead of time. So, and it's oftentimes cases where the entrepreneurs involved are basically going without salary for a while, and end up doing a lot of, I'll say, relative creative things to try to keep the company afloat. But at the end of the day, if they can't attract investors, the show's going to be over, unfortunately. But those companies that are successful at attracting investors, typically they have a well thought out and realistic financial plan that really shows how they can reach positive cash flow. They have an adequate cash cushion to account for the activities, typically taking twice as long and costing twice as much as anticipated. Sometimes even that's an understatement. And it's an opportunity that's highly attractive to investors at the end of the day, so that people really see an opportunity to make money on the activity. And then finally, from a fourth key element is really the management, the most important of all. And really what we look for is it that management team is absolutely critical. General view is that good management talent can overcome deficiencies in the other areas because they can adapt and address them. Our view is that the significant business skills and experience is absolutely critical to complement the technical skills. Technical skills are vital as well in the life sciences industry, but you need to have both to really be successful. So, and really we've come across a lot of companies where there's very, very talented technical leaders, but they've always, I'll say many of these have felt that they don't see the benefit of the business skills, and typically it's, then the company ends up not going very far. So once those technical people realize the importance of the business skills and can find the right person to work with, then usually that balance can be highly successful. And what we've found is that basically the best companies have essentially found a CEO that has previous startup experience and as well as significant business experience to handle the various things that companies need to deal with. And besides the CEO, it's also very important the company has an active and knowledgeable board of directors and scientific advisory board. And Peliotis is a good example of a company that's built up a nice advisory team we like to see.